Morning YouTubers, Facebookers and Instagrammers, part 2 of my vlog series. I'm doing lead work, or basically work and a sit today. So I'm going to get rid of this monkey, then I can talk without being distracted. So this morning I'm talking about basically work, all the things that go with that, and also a basic, the beginnings of sit as well, or a good quality sit. The first thing I want to talk about obviously is that this is just purely my methods, how I like to work, and everything that I do always leads on to other things. So in early training, they're your foundations, and the methods that I use, they're all set up to lead on to next things, other things, and so on and so on. So other people might do other things that are slightly different from me. That doesn't mean that mine's right and theirs are wrong, but this is just the way that I work. Anyway, on to leads. So the first thing that I start off is on a very small, light training lead. Now I make these myself. I don't know if you can see in this footage here. It's just got a very simple loop in the end. There's a couple of knots. They just stop the loop from going too far down. And I normally start to look to put my puppies on a lead around 13, 14 weeks. It really just depends on the puppy, the individual dog. Some are more robust, some aren't. I'm assessing the dog all the time. Do I feel this needs to happen now, or should I leave it a little bit longer? Now, obviously, if you're bringing up a dog in kennels, which some people are, but probably the majority of the people that watch my channel or on my Facebook page are probably fairly new to it, and are probably bringing up a dog in a house, and that's predominantly where most of my training videos are aimed at. And when you're bringing up a dog in a house, you can't leave dogs so late to start doing control and discipline with them, because otherwise they're just a nightmare, really. So you know, if you have got a kennel and you're leaving them in the kennel and that's where you'll bring them up, you can leave things a lot later. But as I said, for me, it's about, you know, as soon as I feel that a dog's robust enough to take a lead on, it goes on. Now, unfortunately, annoyingly, I should have made this video about 4 or 5 weeks ago when I first started with that little pup on the lead. So I'm gonna have to sort of explain the first stages, really. The first time I put a lead on, I can only describe it as like flying a kite on a windy day. They'll either do one of two things. They'll either just go straight ahead and trying to get away from you, or they just plonk their ass down on the ground. And it can sort of go either way, really, or they do both, basically. But the first time I put it on, we're probably talking about 30 seconds or so. It'll probably shoot off. I might have to end up letting go of the lead because the dog goes on strike, and then I'll just, you know, walk on a little bit. What you can probably see here, I'm in a nice quiet space. That's probably another really important thing. You go and find somewhere where there's no distractions, there's no one else walking a dog, you know. Go out of your way to find a good spot. Obviously you don't want to be having to walk your dog to that spot, so ideally, I mean, you can even do it in the garden to start with. I try to avoid that if I can, but if you want to, that's fine. And then, as I said, so you're going to be, you know, have the lead on the dog will probably lunge forwards. You might have to give him a little tug, and then he'll probably pull again, and then he might, you know, throw a strop and chuck himself on the ground, in which case I just let go of the lead. I might only get 30-40 seconds out of the puppy, and then I'll just slip it off. And I just do a little bit each day. My aim is to get that dog to the point where it can walk somewhere, either behind me or in front of me. Now, when it's behind you, you want to be encouraging it along, giving it enthusiasm, you know, and making it feel happy. The second it goes ahead, you might have to give them a little tug and say, come on now. Our job as a trainer is to let them know when it's right and also when it's wrong. And the clearer you can be between the two, the easier it is for the dog to understand. You know, dogs don't understand a quiet cup of tea and a little chat about your problems. What they need is like clear structure so that they understand. So when they're doing something right, even if it's only for a nanosecond, let them know, good girl, good girl. The second it goes, hey, come on. You know, and just making sure you jump between those two things. It's really important to make those divides very clear. Now, I probably work up to this video that you're about to see. It was probably 4 to 5 weeks ago I started at that stage where he, you know, he would jolt forwards, or he'd throw himself on strike or whatever. And we've slowly worked up to this point. In the preview video that I put up, people said, you know, that I put a lot of training into that dog. I probably have only done a minute or two, 5 days a week maximum, so probably 90 minutes in total. I'm probably not even that over the last 5 weeks. You know, it's just a couple of minutes here, a couple of minutes there, and then I take the lead off. But what I am not doing is giving that dog lots of freedom at any other times. I'm being very, very careful to run him on blinkers. I run all my dogs on blinkers to start with. All they need to know is the exact things I want them to learn, and I don't expose them to lots of other things. And that's probably where most novice handlers will go wrong. They might do a little bit of training, but then they take the dog and let it romp around, or they go for a long walk with the dog on the lead or whatever, and the dog's pulling, or you know, and you just get in bad habits. It's all about being intense and putting enthusiasm into it, and for the handler that's just as hard as it is for the dog. Anyway, we're going to cut to this first video of the lead work, and then I'll be back to talk to you guys. So you'll see here straight away I'm using the lead to make the dog sit. Now later on in this video I actually show you how I move away from using the lead at all, and how rapidly and quickly that dog can learn to sit as soon as I stop. At this point though, I'm still using the lead, and my hand, my verbal, I'm encouraging him along, keeping that tail wagging all the time. I wanted to cross over there, so I just leant over to keep him up with me. Look at that tail wagging. That's my main thing, making sure he stays happy and concentrated on me. Remember, at this age, like a toddler, they shake something 3 times, then they lose interest. So you've got to keep it intense, but very, very short sessions. Look, he's bouncing there, happy dog. Okay, gonna sit him up, turn him round. There we go. Keep on walking. Sit, eye contact. Good. Encouraging him along again, then a nice sit again.
Sit. Good boy. Now, almost as soon as you've got the dog sitting using the lead, your hand and a verbal, you can also start to insert your sit whistle as well. So I'm going to use that next. So I'm going to use the sit whistle next at the same time as I give him a little tug and ask him to sit.
Okay, so here we go. Walking along, we're going to use the lead, verbal, hand gesture and whistle all at the same time there. And then we're going to lean round again, encouraging him to keep up with me all the time, keeping that tail wagging. Then lead, verbal, hand and whistle all at the same time. That's really important. Encouraging him round, getting him to keep up with me all the time. Then I use my lead, hand, verbal and whistle. Once again, encourage him round. Oh, just got distracted by that stick there, but we keep going. Sit again, all of those 4 parts all at the same time, and then sit once again.
So all intents and purposes, it looks like he's sitting on the whistle. He's not. He's just starting to, over time, associate hearing that sound and being made to sit. Okay, so I'm going to go on to the next bit now, which is how I go about giving my praise.
So you can see in that video, guys, I'm working really, really hard to keep my puppy happy all the time, keeping that tail wagging. It's really important that you keep it quite intense for that very short period of time. It might only be a minute or 2 at absolute maximum, but you need to put your 100% into it to get the best out of your puppy back. You can see that I'm being a little bit tough occasionally, you know, making sure that he understands where he needs to be. But over time, he's starting to position himself based off that, and that makes it easier for him to understand. Right, on to the next part of the video, which is how I go about giving praise, because how you give praise is really important. Quite often you'll be so pleased with one little thing that you then start to create another issue without realizing it. So when I give the praise, it's done in a certain way so that I can keep that puppy happy. So watch this next part and you'll see what I'm talking about, guys. So straight away here you'll see that I'm very, very cautious. I don't want to encourage him to come off his front feet. I want him to stay on his bum, so I'm very slow going down to him and very calm giving him that praise. So here we go, we walk on again, encouraging him round, trying to get him to keep up all the time. Then we make him sit. I give him a moment to think about it. I'm very slow, cautious. If I think he's going to jump up, I just come back up again, very slowly going down, and then I try and hold him in that position so that he then can't go wrong. That sets him up to succeed rather than fail. Here we go again, nice sit, nice and calm, taking my time going down to him, using the lead just to make sure he stays sat. You see he's not quite sure, and then a little very gentle rub under the chest there to keep him happy. On again we go again, let's just get over the right side of the track. Turn into him that time, make sure that we don't trip over him. Nice sit, very slow, take time, make sure he stays sat. See, that one was a bit better that time. Nice and calm, keeping him happy all the time.
Sit.
Another sit here.
So I give the praise in a very slow, controlled manner. I don't want him jumping up when I give him that praise. So sometimes he goes to move, I use the lead, make him sit a little bit. So you have to do it slowly, take your time. He might jump up, you might need to correct him. Sit, sit, good boy. I want to keep his feet on the ground though. Good boy. Good boy. Sit. Good lad. Come on. Sit. Good boy. So I'm very pleased. I'm going to lean over very slowly, give him that praise without him jumping up, hopefully. Good boy. Sit. Sit. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Stand up. Good lad. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Sit. Good boy. Doing it very, very calmly. I don't want him to move. I've worked really hard to get him to the point where I walk and then he sits. The last thing I want him to do is sit and then jump up, where I'm so pleased with the fact that he sat so well. Right, one more, guys. Good boy. Last one, here we go. Sit. Good lad. Good lad. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. So he's staying nice and calm, even though he can be quite fruity sometimes. I'm keeping him calm through my actions.
So you can see there, guys, I approach the dog very, very slowly. If he goes to get up off his bum, I just give him a little tug with the lead again, and I approach him very, very slowly. And then it's very, very calm. I don't want to make him move out of that sit position once I've worked so hard to get him into that. If he goes to stand up, I just correct up, stand up my posture again, give him a moment, nice and calmly sit. It's not stay, by the way, it's just sit. All the way down nice and slowly, give him a rub on the chest. Good boy, good boy. Then I stand back up and I move on. What I don't want that dog is jumping up. Now, quite often I see that with people. They get a good sit, they're really happy with it, they lavish the dog with lots of praise, and then it's jumping all over the place. At first it seems harmless, but that will then become habit, of which you then have to try and extinguish later on. If you can get that in early on, then that tends to work best. Right, on to the next video, which is where, if you do this really well, your dog will learn to recognize the signs of when you're actually about to stop, and for the dog to be expected to sit. And I'm just going to purely do that through my feet movement, where I'm walking along, I just drag my feet suddenly, and I'll find that generally the dog will just sit up and then look at me, and then I'm straight into my other routine where I can calmly give my praise again. So watch this next video and you'll see what I'm talking about, guys.
So next stage is I'm not going to use any verbal or hand signals or whistle. I'm just going to use my feet to come to an abrupt halt, and hopefully through association of the training that we've done, he'll just come to a nice sharp sit and look at me with touch wood. Here we go then, here we go.
So here we go. So we're just going to do it through movement alone and our feet. He's got used to that. So here we go. Nice quick stop.
Good boy.
Nice calm praise as before. Let's look at that again. So nice fast walk, encourage him round, make sure that he's keeping up. Quick shuffle, and the dog has sat. Lovely. So to round up, okay, I appreciate there's lots of bits missing. It's almost impossible for me to, you know, show all the training tips and things that go into this. I am literally just showing a snapshot. I am sorry about that. But I hope you get an idea of what I'm trying to achieve, and also what is achievable. It is all very achievable, and actually done at the right age, and you can get such good results for a very, very small amount of training. The real key to this all, though, is not overexposing your dog to lots of other things through those early stages, because that is what will undo all your hard work that you've been doing. Anyway, next session I'm going to do some basic retrieves that I'm going to move on to. So not just a puppy retrieve, but where they're sitting and waiting to be sent. So that's going to be my next bit. I hope you enjoy these videos that I'm making. Please give me a thumbs up and a like, or even a share. That really helps me know that I'm doing the correct content for you guys. And if you've got any questions, by all means send me a message and I'll do my best to help you. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Cheers.